G'day everyone, I'm Tim Bos, and if you didn't know already, I'm the CEO and co-founder of ShareRing. So some of you might have seen on Twitter that I arrived in New York earlier today. I'm going to be meeting with some people we're working with here. A couple of our staff are coming down to meet me as well as some of the funds that have invested in ShareRing in the past. After this, I'll be flying down to Southeast Asia next week for some other meetings. So the next 2 weeks is going to be extremely busy, but also very, very constructive. I also stopped in Dubai yesterday and met with some of our staff there. Some of you might not be aware, but we opened an office there late last year. Our COO, Jonathan, and also our global sales director, Stu, work in Dubai. We also recently hired Daniel, our Spanish-speaking support manager there too. So let's get started. I'm just going to leave this on the screen for a little while. This is part of our rebranding with ShareRing as a whole. We've focused a lot of effort on the last few months on really sort of looking at how we define the messaging of our products that we're developing and the brand that we want people to see as we start to sort of market it more effectively to a number of consumers, but also businesses that we're working with. You'll also see the slogan there, "Secure your digital future." As I go through these slides, that'll start to make a little bit more sense to you as well. In terms of what we're going through today, first of all is a review on Q1. So what did we achieve in Q1 this year? Also upcoming projects and developments, so things that we're working on in the future in our roadmap, updates on current projects, so things that we're working on now and about to release, and then also some of the questions that the community have posted. So let's get started. Review of Q1 2022. Quite a lot happened over the last few months. The first thing that happened is in March 2022, we did our hard fork. That was released as planned on schedule. That was a huge hard fork with the update of Tendermint. A few things that it allowed us to do as well as bug fixes. It opened up the ability for us to start looking at adding smart contracts to our platform using some smart contract add-ons for Tendermint. It also allowed us to simplify the hard forks that we do in the future through the governance process, which means that we don't need to have everyone online at the same time to be able to do the hard fork. It's a lot more seamless in the future. It also added the ability to allow us to have a lot of memory saving. There's a heap of other sort of things that it added. In March, we also added the staking and swapping. So staking allowed any of you to stake some share token on the network. There's a huge amount staked and there's more and more coming in each day. So that's been a really good result. And then also swapping between the Ethereum or ERC20 network and ShareLedger network. So we do have the Binance Smart Chain swapping coming soon. There are some updates that I'll talk about shortly around that there. We also, about a week ago, went live with the eKYC projects that we're doing with the Barbados Teachers Cooperative Credit Union in Barbados. That's been a huge success, so people have started signing up for that. I don't have some exact numbers on me yet, but we will come out with some updates around the number of users who have signed up and people using it. And then, as I mentioned, the BEP2 to BEP20 bridge is live now. So anyone that's got BEP2 can go in and send that BEP2 to a BEP20, which is Binance Smart Chain address whenever they want. And then we'll also have a bridge going from BEP20 over to ERC20 that will allow you to transfer the tokens over there. So we're working with both multi-chain and then also cross-chain bridge. So both of them have that ready. We're just doing some testing on that before we go live, hopefully within the next 24 to 48 hours. One thing that I wanted to go through before I start talking about upcoming products and projects is really to reiterate the three different product arms of ShareRing. So some of you might have seen this at the end of last year or earlier this year when we did the last live stream. This is very important to sort of understand this because then you'll sort of clearly understand where each of the products fit, but also what some of our plans are in terms of our growth and our target focus areas and things like that. So I'll start with enterprise services. Enterprise services is really the part of the company that's very, very focused on sales-driven development of our technology. So what I mean by that is a lot of the things that we develop in here are really based on sales leads or opportunities with businesses or business-to-business opportunities that our sales team generates. So a good example of that is EKYC with Barbados Teachers Credit Union. That was driven through our enterprise services line. Other areas are around things like sharing access for events. That's also part of our business to business, which comes through enterprise services. Down the bottom, we have merchant services. So merchant services is really about adding some more consumer-driven products within our app. That's more aggregator sort of driven things. So accommodation, which is being released soon, is a great example of that. Through that model, that allows for sort of medium transaction numbers, not super high. We make a margin off each booking that's put through there. So things like if someone books a hotel room, we pay a wholesale price for that, and then we will receive a margin off that. Activities when that happens, it's the same thing. We make a margin off that. Things like other e-commerce that we add to the platform and all of that, that's part of merchant services. And then we also have digital lifestyle. So digital lifestyle is really more our R&D arm of the company. It's also about releasing products that have very, very high transaction volume as well. A good example of that would be the NFT space that I'll talk about shortly. There's also a number of other things that we're doing around NFTs, a number of other R&D projects that are coming up that we're working on that fit within digital lifestyle. And those are really MVPs that we might push out. So minimum viable products. They'll be released as betas. So any one of you can basically have a test of it and play with it. And it's very, very focused on generating maximum transaction volume through the platform. A lot of what we do in digital lifestyle, though, will be fed into enterprise services. So, for example, the NFT things is going to be fed into our sharing access product for events, NFT event tickets, and so on. It may also feed into some of the things that we're doing in merchant services too. So there's what you'll probably see is more and more products start coming out of digital lifestyle around R&D, and then they'll be feeding into sales opportunities and business-to-business engagements that we're doing through enterprise services and so on. So in terms of upcoming projects and developments, a few of the things that I'll go through, NFT Space is really the first one. NFT Space is really, the idea behind NFT Space is the ability to mint, store, transfer NFTs within the ShareRing app. So what we've developed here isn't really sort of something that is a sort of finished sort of product that says, okay, we're getting in the NFT area, we're going to compete with OpenSea or all this sort of stuff. What we've done is we've developed NFT Space within our digital lifestyles product to really facilitate a lot of the other stuff that we're going to be doing in enterprise services. So a lot of people have said, well, why are you doing NFTs? I guess the good answer is we don't see NFTs necessarily as just a piece of art or a digital image that you can post on OpenSea and sell, or generative artwork or any of that sort of stuff. We see NFTs as a lot more than that. NFTs for us are tickets to events. So by creating an NFT that acts as a ticket to an event within the ShareRing Events platform, what we do is we solve a lot of problems that exist in the events industry at the moment. So some of those problems is around scalping. So where you have people selling tickets to an event, what you can do is you can guarantee that the ticket that they're selling is real. You can guarantee ownership of that ticket, and then you can use an on-chain transaction to transfer that ticket to someone else. So a lot of problems happen within tickets with ticket scalpers or ticket touts, where those people they may advertise on Gumtree or another platform saying, you know, I've got tickets to this sort of concert, and then someone does a bank transfer to them, and then that person disappears. That problem is rife through the events industry. Every single event that problem happens at, where people are selling fake tickets and all of this. So we can completely eliminate that ability to sell fake tickets, or for ticket touts to scam other people by selling vaporware sort of tickets as well, by creating an NFT out of those. The NFTs also allow you to add a lot of other functionality as well. So when someone attends a concert, that NFT could be converted or transitioned into a souvenir after the concert. So it might be a limited edition something. The NFT might also be attached to, say, one free drink when you're going to an event or something like that. So really, the NFT that you see or that you'll see in the app soon is really foundational for what we're doing with Sharing Access events, and then also a number of other products that we're developing in NFTs. I might just do a really quick demo of what we're doing with NFT Space. So let me just open it up on my phone now. The demo that I'm going to show you is really just a quick look at sort of what we're doing or what the beta product is that we're launching that will allow people to use it. And part of what we're doing with this is also to see what people use it for. So beyond the foundational platform for events, there's a number of other uses that people might find with the NFTs, the free minting that we're adding to it as well. So let me just open the NFT space. You can see here I've created an NFT earlier, a dirty number pad for keyboards, just a photo that I took. But in terms of the app itself, it's very, very simple. You can mint your own NFT. So if I go in there, mint NFT, I can go and choose a photo, video, or audio. I'll choose from my library in there. Go to this. Maybe I'll mint the ShareRing logo. So let's call it ShareRing logo. Let's use an existing collection that I created before called ShareLedger. Make one of them. I can set royalties for sales when it goes up on OpenSea. And then I can add a URL for the website and then also a detailed description. This is a logo. And I click mint. I can add other attributes to it as well, like maybe the type or things like that. So at the moment, we're minting NFTs on Polygon, low gas fees, very easy to use. In future, that'll move over to the ShareLedger platform, just that the add-on for ShareLedger is not ready yet for minting NFTs. And then, we'll also allow for cross-chain minting of NFTs within the platform too. So there's a lot that's going to happen around that area there. So what it's doing now is it's going through our platform, it's minting the NFTs, and there we go. That's basically successfully created it. So in a second, if I go back out and in, it'll show up in my collections there. There we go. And the image is also copied over to a IPFS as well. So there's the logo that I've minted there. There's a creator, and I can transfer that over to anyone else by entering a Polygon wallet address. So we're actually charging nothing for this for the first 5 NFTs. So gas free, we're funding the whole thing. Anything after that, based on what we sort of see in terms of the usage and all of that, we'll start charging for that there. But it'll just be standard Polygon fees. And then also once it moves over to ShareLedger, we'll do the standard ShareLedger fees. Within the app as well, if I go over to my account here, you can see that we've added the Matic wallet here. So there's a balance there that's available so you can easily mint NFTs. You can also receive to the Matic wallet as well, and then also send to the Matic wallet. And then in future, we'll allow you to add your own wallet, import your own private key into there as well. A couple of other things on the NFTs. So one thing that we are looking to do, or one thing that we are promoting this for, is the ability to upload things like videos. So within the NFT platform itself, you can then share, say, that video to a social media network. And when you do share it, one thing that we're going to be doing in the future, if based on demand, we'll be adding a watermark there or adding tags there that'll allow people to verify that you are the original creator of that NFT. So it is something that is quite unique at the moment, the ability to share it to your social media. So we really look forward to the feedback that we get around this. And this is, an absolute MVP that we're looking forward to people trying out. And that's launching very, very soon. As I mentioned before, sharing with events with NFTs. So this, as I mentioned, is a very novel concept of approving access to venues and premises using NFTs, then also proving your ownership at the point of entry and gaining access. So within the ShareRing app itself, we do already have the functionality to generate a QR code to enter an event. So this has been tested at a number of events already. And what we're doing is now adding the NFT functionality to that. So within that, instead of forcing people to send the NFT to a ShareRing wallet address, what we'll be able to do is allow you to sign a transaction with the ShareRing app to prove that you own that NFT and then use that NFT to enter events. So we will have a number of events that we're hosting coming up soon that will allow you to use your NFTs to enter those events. So stay tuned for that, because there's going to be some really cool stuff that we do around there. Just in terms of cities that we're exploring for opportunities with events at the moment, so Hong Kong is one, obviously Melbourne is another, and Bangkok is another. So as I mentioned, just keep your eye open. We will have some events coming up soon in those areas there. Some of them will be events where we're testing the platform. There's also something happening in the US very soon as well. But basically we'll be running some events to help test the platform. And then also third-party events or businesses that we're partnered with will also be running some events with the ShareRing Events platform. I'm super excited about this. This is some stuff that we're doing imminently. So yeah, really stay tuned to what we're doing around there. The other part of what I wanted to really sort of talk about is the idea of providing frictionless access for the phygital future. So phygital is really the mix of your physical and also digital identity merging into one. So, a lot of people talk about the concept of digital identity giving you access to metaverses and giving you access to various things. And there's a distinct separation between that digital identity and the physical world. But what we actually see is this idea with the ShareRing Vault is the digital identity being a lot more than just a twin representation of, say, your name, age, address, and nationality. We see someone's identity as being your medical certificate, meaning it could be a COVID vaccine, maybe a graduation certificate for a university. It could be a work certificate. It could be anything that proves something about yourself, anything that is part of your identity that is really unique to you. So something that may give you access to a location, something that may give you access to an online service or something like that. So as we say on this slide here, imagine having your university certificate digitally verified, stored inside your ShareRing Vault, so then you can easily use it and access it whenever you're required. Even things as basic as your driver's license. Funny enough, I used the ShareRing app with my driver's license, when I got pulled over by the police a few weeks ago, because I didn't have my physical driver's license. So I opened the ShareRing app, opened the driver's license image, showed them that driver's license image. They copied down the number, checked it, and it was all good. So, I think every day I think of different things that we can use the ShareRing Vault for in different industries and all of that. Events is one of the first we're using it in. eKYC is obviously another area that we're using it in. But there's so many different ways that we can use the ShareRing Vault. And one of our plans to do is really to make it a bit more of an open system that allows people to create their own sort of workflow or their own ways that they can use the ShareRing Vault to access various things either online or offline in the physical realm. So in terms of what we classify as a digital identity, a digital identity is really something that's verifiable across a digital channel to a high degree of assurance. So if it's, say, a work certificate, what we need to do is make sure that the work certificate's at least loaded into your vault is verifiable. So it's not just a handwritten piece of paper saying you work here. It needs to have been loaded by, say, the company you work for through what we call a document issuance app. It also needs to be unique, so it's something that's unique to you. It also needs to be created with consent. So if it's something that's created either by a government or your work or something like that, that needs to be created with their consent and yours, and then also created with privacy and safeguards and user ownership. So one thing that blockchain is critical for while we're doing this is that idea of creating trust with these documents. And the trust is when that document's created into your vault within the ShareRing app, that document is a digital hash of that document is placed on the blockchain. What that basically means is even though you may have loaded that document or a third party may have loaded that document, even though you've got complete control over that document, you can't change anything on it. So it's stored on your phone or a backup drive that you have, but even though it's in your complete control, if you change even a pixel of that, the digital hash that's stored on the ShareLedger blockchain won't be valid anymore. And that means when you're sending the document to someone to prove who you are or prove something about yourself, they'll notice that it's not valid because the hash doesn't match anymore and they won't accept that document. So, you know, there's so many examples where that sort of digital identity can be used in a trusted environment without having to worry about centralized storage of those documents and hacking and all that sort of stuff. Another thing that we're doing at the moment and over the last few months, and you'll see over the next sort of few weeks or couple of months, is really a refreshing of the brand. So you can see here a bit of a snapshot of what we're going through. We engaged a couple of third-party companies to do that. They've been working really, really hard on our new website that's really focusing on securing our digital future, and then some of the sales campaigns that we're working through as well around sharing access, sharing events, and also eKYC. So we're really looking forward to showing that. You'll see a few more sneak previews over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to the launch of the new website. We also engaged a new PR company, so we've started with them over the last week. They specialize in blockchain and crypto media, so over the next few months they're going to support our PR needs and also present our new narrative and new projects to a wider audience. So you'll start seeing a lot more come out around our PR there. So this is really where the ramp up starts as we start to release these products that people can start using. You know, big focus is around growth within our community, raising our company profile, and also reaching a wider audience around B2B and B2C products. So a lot of you have been asking where we are with our current projects. So eKYC, as you saw, we launched that at the Barbados Teachers Credit Union over the last week. But we are moving forward and expanding the reach of our eKYC product. So we're in discussions with a number of companies at the moment to look at increasing the adoption. So mostly credit unions right now. But what we are doing is opening the sales channel to start talking to other companies that may see a use in what we've done with the eKYC. And one of the good things about eKYC is it maintains consistent levels of transactions for the ShareLedger protocol. So we'll see consistent transactions through that. So for every user that signs up, they have multiple documents that we do a digital hash of and store on the blockchain. And there's also the document issuance. So there's this, and then the sign up. So I think there's somewhere between 3 and 5 transactions for every user that signs up for eKYC. So the transaction numbers can get really, really high as we sign up more and more companies in this. We are evolving our eKYC for the financial industry. So not just credit unions, it could be crypto exchanges, it could be small banks, it could be online car rental companies. There's many, many areas where eKYC is valuable. A lot of questions on when we're launching accommodation and then also SharePay. So accommodation, in terms of that, the technology is 100% complete with accommodation. A couple of little bug fixes that we've been going through, but for all intents and purposes, the technology is ready. It is going to be released soon. We're basically working with marketing on when the best timing is and when the market fit is suitable for 2022. So you'll see some updates on that over the next few weeks as we get closer and closer to the launch of the accommodation. SharePay is another beast altogether. So technology, once again, for the SharePay is pretty much done for what we sort of call as phase 1 of the SharePay. So that's all done. It is an extensive process. We do require more than just technology developments around that. So there's licensing requirements, partners that we need to bring in terms of managing the treasury and a lot of other areas. So SharePay, as I mentioned, phase 1 of the technology is done. You can do payments. We do have the ability to sort of have stored value in the app and all of that. But once again, there are obviously licensing requirements that we need to go through to be able to make sure that we can launch that in multiple countries at the same time. In terms of transactions, so a lot of people have been seeing large numbers of transactions going through the ShareLedger platform. I think we did announce these previously, but a lot of these are part of the flowbacks for Share Token, and then also replaying of a lot of test transactions we did on the test network. So the way that flowbacks work, this is not inflation on the network in any way whatsoever. Flowbacks are really tokens that we, ShareRing, have purchased over the last 12 to 18 months on the open market, so on KuCoin, on Uniswap, and so on. We've then transferred those tokens over to the ShareLedger platform, and then we are feeding those tokens back through as transactions on the network. What we will start seeing as we bring on eKYC, as we bring on the sharing access and the events, and then as we launch the NFT space, is we'll start seeing increased consistency and growth of transactions on the ShareLedger platform. So I don't have specific numbers yet. A lot of it really depends on some of our sales and partnerships and their growth there. This is, a lot of our focus is on real business partnerships and the growth of those businesses and the usage of the platform. So we will definitely see consistency of growth as those flowback numbers start to peter off as well. So BEP2, BEP20, and ERC20, also known as Binance Chain, Binance Smart Chain, or I think they've renamed it to Binance Beacon Chain, and so on. We do have, and we are testing, and we are adding liquidity to cross-chain bridge for ERC20, so that'll allow you to transfer share token from Binance Smart Chain over to ERC20 using cross-chain bridge. We've also been activated by multi-chain as well, which is another bridge option. All we need to do is add some liquidity to both of those and give them the go-ahead, which will happen over the next 24 hours. PancakeSwap is in the same position, so PancakeSwap is pretty much ready to go. We just need to add liquidity to that as well. And then also BEP20 on KuCoin. So we have spoken to them about adding BEP20 on KuCoin. At the moment, they don't support BNB as a base pair. It is something we've asked them to see what can be done around that, and they're sort of looking at it, and hopefully we'll give a timeline around that there. But that's really up to KuCoin, what they do around that. We have emailed both CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap to ask them to update the contracts to make sure that the Binance Smart Chain address is in there as well, so that you can all see that. If you do look for Share Token on BSC Scan, you will see it. You'll see all the socials in there, and you'll see that it is a verified account as well. So let's go through some questions from the community. Some questions came through around partners and NDAs. So can you please recap what happened with the government and the EVOA project? So this has been covered a number of times. I have covered it in a previous live stream. We have covered it in tweets. Back in March 2020, we were working with a company that was partnered with the Thai government. We had an MOU signed with them, and their plan was in place to basically utilize the ShareLedger platform for this company's applications for the EVOA program, which Thailand had at the time. Shortly after COVID hit and the lockdown started, Thailand completely cancelled their EVOA projects. They aren't running that at the moment. They are slowly opening back up again in terms of opening for tourists. Actually, they're completely open now for tourists, but they haven't launched the EVOA project again. Our relationship with that company that was doing the EVOA, they're no longer doing it now, but we will sort of keep our eye on it to see what's happening in the future. But there's no promises around that. COVID did completely obliterate the whole EVOA plan and everything that we were doing around that. But as I said, who knows? It may be something that we jump back into in the near future. But at the moment, our focus is really on the eKYC, the launch of accommodation, and the NFT space, and also the sharing access and events side of things. That's keeping the team extremely busy at the moment. There's some huge opportunities that we're working on in all of those areas. So I think EVOA will be very soon forgotten and a thing of the past. Next question, are there any new developments or projects for the metaverse? Yes, absolutely. So part of what we're doing with sharing access with the phygital access, the digital and physical identity, is really about creating that product that will allow you to use the ShareRing app to access the metaverse. So we mentioned a little while ago that we're doing some R&D around that. The launch of NFT Space will be linked to that as well. And then also providing the ability to simply go on to, say, a metaverse or something like that, scanning the QR code. You can bring your NFTs that are stored within the ShareRing app. Maybe there's some identity required, so maybe this metaverse is only for people over 18, or maybe it's for kids under 18 or something like that. You might need to prove that using the ShareRing app, and then you'll gain access to that metaverse. So where companies like, I guess, or where products like MetaMask will allow you to sort of just get easy access by signing a transaction, we're going well beyond that by providing the ability to prove something about yourself to gain access to that metaverse. So really a zero knowledge proof where you can prove something about yourself. Maybe you hold an NFT, or maybe you're over a certain age, or maybe you're a member of some group or something like that, to gain access to that metaverse without actually having to show all of the details about yourself to be able to gain access to that. So the product's really sort of developed to allow for that type of access through both physical and also online through digital, even websites and metaverse projects and things like that. Will the ShareRing app be white labeled? It's an interesting question. If you asked me that maybe 2 months ago, I would have said no, absolutely not. But with some of the partners that we're working with or companies that we're talking to at the moment, we're getting a lot more requests around white labeling of the ShareRing app, particularly around events. So it is something that we are definitely investigating at the moment and are likely to do for a subset of the ShareRing app. So the idea will be to basically have the master app, the ShareRing app, that has all of the features and functionality. And then there may be some companies that work with us just on events that may white label a version of the app just for events. But both of these apps will still use a common sharing vault with all of your document storage to access these events as well. Questions with Tencent. So how are Tencent collaborating with ShareRing? I actually met with Tencent in Thailand when I was there a couple of months ago. So our relationship with Tencent and our agreement with them is a collaboration agreement. So collaboration is really more focused around joint sales opportunities. So we work with our partnership manager over there, and any opportunities that we have that needs Tencent's assistance, or where they see opportunities where it could use some of the sharing platform or sharing technology for those opportunities, we'll work with those with Tencent on those. So that's with the team of Tencent Thailand. How does ShareRing plan to further the collaboration with Tencent? So really, now that we've got the products of the eKYC, sharing access events being launched, we'll be working with any of our partners and collaboration partners to further the opportunities we have there, and then work with them on any very specific sales opportunities that we may have together. And as some of you know, Tencent are very heavily involved in the music industry, have a lot of investments around that. Tencent Thailand run the Duke's product, which is a music product, so I can see some big opportunities for us to work with them in the future. BEP20 questions. Will BEP20 share have any effect on the current staking on ShareLedger? No, other than the fact that a lot of our shareholders have their tokens on BEP2 at the moment, so I can see that there's going to be a lot more staking in the near future once that bridge is opened up, where some of our founders and shareholders and team will actually start moving some tokens over to stake. So that will just take more and more tokens out of circulation that will then be staked on the ShareLedger platform. Next question. For those in the US holding BEP2, how does ShareRing enable them to swap the BEP2 to Share or BEP20 to Share? I mean, there's nothing stopping US holders from being able to swap, so you should be able to swap from BEP2 to BEP20 now. BEP20 is available for people in the US. You don't need to use Binance.com or anything like that. You can just go on to the Binance wallet, which is downloadable, as an add-on to Chrome, and then you can swap your BEP2 to BEP20 very easily. We've made a video of how to do that, so we'll post a copy of that video again so that you know exactly how to do it. Questions around transactions, sharing share, and so on. How will NFT Space evolve in the future? The evolution of NFT Space, outside of what I've spoken about with regards to the events and then also some of the social media side of things, that's really up to you. So we're going to be doing a lot of analytics and really understanding what people's usage of that is. But that is also really about us creating the foundation for what you can do with NFTs. So we start with the creation of those NFTs. We may do things around document management. We may do things that are linked more closely with the vault around sort of creating NFT-based documents that are stored in the vault. There's so many different opportunities of what we can do. And as I said earlier, we don't see NFTs as just artwork or generative artwork or anything like that you can sell on OpenSea. We see the concept of NFTs as a lot wider, and there's a lot of benefits to consumers for that, a lot of benefits to people that aren't involved in crypto, and then also B2B benefits around that. Next question, will users have the ability to swap Matic and share inside the ShareRing app? So we don't have the ability to swap, so you won't be able to sort of buy Matic with Share Token and buy Share Token with Matic and so on. But within the app, we have added the ability to add and have a Matic wallet, so that you can store some of your Matic in there and use that for funding NFT transactions until we get the NFTs working within ShareLedger. We are just mentioning NFTs in ShareLedger. We are also adding the ability to sign or prove that you own NFTs across more than just Polygon. So it'll be ERC20 NFTs and so on. Are flowbacks and buybacks happening right now? Yes, they are. So we have been purchasing some Share Token on the exchanges. And then also the flowbacks are happening through the transactions that are being created with those tokens that we've been purchasing. Number 4, evidently ShareRing was busy over the last few months. What's next for ShareRing? So hopefully I've covered a little bit about what's next. We do have a number of other, branches of the eKYC, ShareRing Access, ShareRing Events that we'll be sharing with you soon as well. How can we get in contact for business inquiries? Yeah, that's a really good question. So you can use the contact us form on the ShareRing website. You can also contact us through Twitter if you want to. And with the new websites coming, we'll have some very specific line of business specific contact us forms. Some of you might have seen through the newsletter that we released yesterday as well. There's a link in there that will allow you to contact us very specifically about eKYC opportunities as well. Where does ShareRing anticipate growth in their income and transactions? That really takes us back to the one of the first slides that I showed, which is the 3 areas of ShareRing. So in terms of growth in income and transactions, we see really digital lifestyle is very, very focused on transaction numbers. They're products that are going out that focus on volume of transactions. We see the enterprise services as being quite lumpy in terms of transactions. So there may be an event that we're doing that has 50,000 or 100,000 people that may generate a few 100,000 transactions through the event, and then that'll drop down to low numbers, and then there'll be another event up and down and up and down. Similar with the eKYC project process, we'll see sort of some consistent numbers of transactions through there, and then lumpy based on, say, new clients that are signed up and new campaigns that these companies that we're working with actually roll out with as well. As I said before, so these are the product arms. So digital lifestyle is very, very focused on the large transaction numbers, the R&D type projects, push it out there with MVPs, fast development, fast release cycle, and so on. Enterprise services is really sales-driven products, sales-driven around, at the moment, eKYC, ShareRing Access, and events. And then merchant services is really focused around aggregator products. So merchant services, I guess, really leverages the user base and the customers we get through digital lifestyle and enterprise services, gives them other things to do within the app. and then also opens opportunities for more transactions, and then better or more efficient usage of the ShareRing Vault to provide frictionless access to various services. So accommodation, we'll be working with some hotels for express check-in for those, and then other services that are added through there as well. So I hope that covered a lot of the questions people have been asking over the last few months, gave a bit of an understanding of where we're heading and what some of the products that we're releasing are. I, for one, are extremely excited about the future of ShareRing and what we're doing. Now is really the time to start showcasing what we've been working on, and we're looking forward to it and hoping you guys enjoy what we've got to release over the next few weeks. And thanks all for your time.